Watch this video and complete the workbook page String Quartet. String Quartet is in the My First Piano Adventure Level B writing book. Let's get ready to begin. Open your writing book to page 52. Make sure that you have a pencil handy, and today you'll also want to be sitting down by your piano or keyboard. Let's start at the very beginning. This page is called String Quartet. What is a string quartet? A string quartet is something entirely new that we have never talked about before, so I'm going to start answering this question by changing it a little bit. Let's start by looking at what a quartet is. Here's a clue. The first few letters of the word quartet tell us that this is something that has to do with the number 4. So let's take a look in a handy dictionary. The dictionary says that a quartet is a group of 4 people playing music or singing together. So when we play the piano, we are one happy, smiling musician playing music on our own. When we play in a quartet, we're not just playing on our own. We have one friend, or is it 2 friends? No. When we play in a quartet, we have 3 friends. That's 4 smiling faces all playing their own instruments, which could be their voice, at the same time together. So let's go back to our initial question and put in that word that I took out. What is a string quartet? That word string is referring to the type of instrument that's being played together. A string quartet is a group of 4 musicians that are playing string instruments together. Specifically, they're playing 2 violins, a viola, and a cello together. Those are names of instruments that you might not have heard before, so let's say them again. Violin, and there's 2 of them, a first and a second violin, viola, and cello. Take a look at the page in your workbook and you'll see pictures of those instruments right here. The violins are the smaller instruments, the viola is the medium-sized instrument, and the cello is the big one. But those instruments can't play themselves. They need those 4 smiling musicians to play them. So here they are. The first violin, the second violin, the viola, and the cello being played by our music friends. Are you wondering what they're playing? Well, they're playing the music that is on these pages. Let's start taking a look at that now. Now, if you look at this music, you might notice that it doesn't look quite right. Something is missing from this music. Do you know what it is? It's missing its bar lines. It's not divided up into measures. So the very first thing that you and I are going to do is to put in those bar lines. In order to do that, we need to look at the time signature at the front of the music. The numbers I circled here, 4/4. And you'll notice that there is a number on each of the lines of music on this page. There's 1 line of music for each instrument. 4 instruments in a quartet, 4 lines of music. And all of the numbers on every line is the same. They're all 4/4. What does that top 4 mean? Do you remember? Did you say that it means that there are 4 beats of music in every measure for this piece? If you did, you got it right. So now our job is to find out where each 4 beats ends so that we can draw in our bar lines. The easiest way to do that is to look at the line that has all quarter notes. Let's use the second line of music to count our beats. Starting with a clean slate here and all of those other markings gone, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. The first bar line needs to go right after those 4 beats, and we're going to draw all the way from top to bottom. Let's count on. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Incidentally, I can also count the bottom line of music if I want. That whole note is also 4 beats, and now we know where our next bar line should go. Let's draw all the way from top to bottom. It's time to find out where our next measure should end. The next note that we have on line 2 is a half note. It gets 2 beats, so we have to write 1-2, then 3, 4, and now we know where to put it. All the way from top to bottom on all 4 lines of music. And we've made it to the end of this page, so let's go ahead and draw a line at the end too. Now let's take a look at page 2. Follow along with me as we draw the bar lines in here. Now you don't need to draw one at the end of this page because we already have this. This is called the double bar line. Do you remember what it means? It means the end. Let's go back to the first page. Now there is more for us to do here. Do you notice that there are little lines above the violin 2 and the viola parts? Those little lines are there for us to fill in the note names. Let's do that next. We know it starts at C and the next note repeats. Then we're going to step up twice. If you look carefully, the last note of this measure is the same as the first note of the next measure. Those are repeating notes, so that is also an E. Then we have 2 steps down, and the next thing that we do is leap up to the top note, which is going to be G. From there, we're going to take a skip down because we're going from line to line. And that means that the next note is going to be E. Then we get to go back to our 2 steps down before we leap back up to G. Follow along to fill out the second violin part on page 2 with me. Go ahead and hit the pause button here and stop and check your work against what I have on my page. We're back on page 1 so that we can fill out the viola part now. Before you begin, notice that this one is in the bass clef, and then follow along with me. Pause here to check your answers before you move on to page 2. Are you ready? Let's finish this by writing in the notes on page 2. This is a good time to pause to check your answers before we move on to the next step, which is playing the music. The last thing to do for this workbook page is to play all of the parts that are here. We're going to start by playing the first violin part. That's just the very top line of music. This one's for your right hand, and you'll want to have it in C position with your thumb on middle C. We're going to sight read with the skills that you have gained in this book, and the most important thing here is that once you start, you should not stop. Keep going no matter what. If you make a little mistake, just keep on playing with me. Next, we'll play the second violin part, which is line 2. This one is also for the right hand, and you've already written all of the notes on your music. Now we're going to move down to the viola part. This is the third line of music. It's the other one that we already wrote the notes in for. And remember, this is for your left hand. So your left hand should be in C scale position with your pinky on bass C, 1 octave below middle C. Okay, we're going to end it now by playing the cello part. This is the bottom line of music, also for your left hand, but we're going to move down 1 more octave. So your left hand pinky should now be 2 octaves below middle C. Okay, you've played all of the parts by themselves now, and I have a special bonus challenge for you. Do you think you're up to it? I think you are. Here's the challenge. I'm going to play the violin 2 part. That's the second line. And while I'm playing that, you play the viola part. Let's try it. You should be looking at line 3 of your music. You're going to be playing with your left hand, 1 octave below middle C with a pinky on bass C.
2 parts.
1, 2, ready, go. You did it! The String Quartet page is a big lesson, and you finished it all. I'm giving you a check, a star, a plus, and a smiley face. Great work today.